Our next guest's groundbreaking research about how trees have relationships and communicate with each other is so gripping, Hollywood stars have snapped up the rights to her new book and are adapting it for the film. Joining us now with more is scientist Suzanne Simard. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Okay, at some point, what you now know must have started just as a what if. At what point did you begin to suspect that there was a secret life to trees that we didn't know about?
Well, I was trying to understand diseases that were running through our plantations in British Columbia, and I wanted to know what we had done with our clear cutting and planting practices that had disrupted that system. And that led me to look at and discover that there are these other kinds of fungal threads that run through the forests and connect trees together. These are mycorrhizal mutualistic fungi that the trees need to get resources.
Now, when we say trees talk to each other, what exactly do we mean, and how do they do that?
Well, they have very sophisticated ways of communicating. We call talking, but this is a much more nuanced and unique to trees in that they share water and nutrients and carbon and phosphorus between trees through these fungal threads that connect them. Sort of like messages that run through telephone lines. You could think of it that way, or the internet. And they also communicate about their health, what kind of stress they're under, whether they're shaded, whether they're out in the sunlight, and whether or not they're related to each other.
Really? Okay. All right. Sorry, this is just a lot to process. Now, in your new book, Finding the Mother Tree, you talk about your discoveries of the relationships between these trees, the crucial importance of the mother tree. What does that mother tree do?
Well, these fungal threads also are a big scaffolding or a big network that seedlings, when seeds fall to the forest floor, tap into that network almost right away in their lives, and they start getting, the water and nutrients that they need from the soil. And these old trees also send them subsidies of carbon and water and information that helps them survive and grow and be healthy individuals. So it's really a really crucial way that trees are able to regenerate in subsequent generations. The other thing about these big old trees is that they don't just connect and are facilitating the regeneration of the forest. They store huge amounts of carbon, and they're scaffoldings for other biodiversity of all the creatures that live in and on them.
Suzanne, I've got to think that when you drop this discovery on the scientific community and indeed society at large, you're asking for a pretty big rethink of how we view forests and trees and our relationships with them. How were your discoveries first received?
Well, pushback or ignored. So the pushback part came in that what I was finding out was that trees of different species, including aspens and birches and cottonwoods, that we were really crazy about spraying and getting rid of with herbicides to get rid of them from forests, because we viewed them as competitors. And what I found was that they do compete, but they also share these resources at the same time, and that this actually really enhances the biodiversity of the forest. On the academic side, people were very skeptical because competition realms supreme. And that theory really arose from Darwin's theories of evolution and natural selection, and was sort of applied, I think, wholeheartedly in forest ecology and forest management, and translated into these very, I would say, simplistic ways of managing the forest. And even, clear-cut logging ignores the fact that these big old trees, of course, are super important in the functioning of the forest through these communication networks.
Sometimes the best way to get the world to agree with you is to make a movie about it. Just ask John Grisham and the people who made Jurassic Park. Your work has long influenced writers and filmmakers. It inspired The Tree of Souls and James Cameron's Avatar. Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal recently announced they're going to be adapting your book for film. So what is it about your discoveries, do you think, that attracts Hollywood's attention?
Well, so I wrote my book is a story about the whole discovery of these networks from my childhood all the way up until adulthood, and how my life played such an important role in it. And I think that storytelling combined with the science is really compelling. I think too, that what's going on in our forests, that we've, be clear cutting them in Canada. Like we really have, created a different kind of environment in Canada with our extensive logging. And I think that also is something, bringing that to the screen and helping people understand, what's going on in our forests and what it means for us as people, I think is a compelling story for Amy Adams to tell.
Suzanne Simard, thank you so much for being here today. A great conversation.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.